press the bell icon and never miss an update from Bollywood Now.
Gets to call on a celebrity of the stature of Mr. Bachchan to speak on making the world free of hepatitis. But today, I can. Mr. Bachchan, may I invite you to address us?
Honorable Dr. Poonam Singh, distinguished guests from the World Health Organization, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, thank you so much for inviting me here today on this very momentous occasion. May I, at the outset, Dr. Singh, thank World Health Organization for considering me as your ambassador for the Southeast region. It's an appointment that I most humbly accept. Thank you. My attention to this very dreaded disease was drawn to me by my family doctor, Dr. Paresh, who's present here today. He came across to my house with a group of fellow doctors and for the first time informed me about the presence of hepatitis B, what it was doing to society in general, and what needed to be done in order to cause prevention, detection, and cure. Hepatitis was something that I have spoken about personally, and I've always believed that if there is a campaign that needs to be propagated strongly, effectively, and if there is something personal that can be attached to that campaign, then I believe that the campaign has a greater value. As someone who has suffered and is still suffering from hepatitis due to a blood transfusion, and as someone who was detected with the disease many, many years later, thanks to Dr. Paresh and his efficiency, I realized that how disabling something like this can be if it is not detected in time, and if cure towards this is not taking place, and if the message of what hepatitis actually means and how it can be detected and cured was unknown to me. But when I did find out through my various conversations with very efficient people in this region and connected with this campaign, I felt that I must work towards not entirely eradicating it, but at least making people aware of what hepatitis is. We saw a wonderful video just now of a gentleman, Mr. Karnani, talk about how he contracted the disease, and it could well have been me speaking there because that is exactly how I contracted hepatitis B. In 1982, I had an accident during the shooting of a film. There were about 200 donors of blood. I required almost 60, well, not really bottles, but packets, or I don't know what the exact word is, platelets, etc. And one of the donors of blood was carrying the dreaded hepatitis infection, which at that point of time was not detected because the Australian antigen hepatitis had just evolved about 3 weeks or 3 months before, and there hadn't been an awareness of its presence in the medical world, at least not in India at that point of time. From 82 onwards, right till almost 2004 or 5, am I right, Dr. Paresh? About 2004 and 5. On a regular analysis of what we all go through during the course of the year, it was detected, and it was very alarming at that point of time because I was informed by the medical team that 75% of my liver has been destroyed. Having said that, they also reassured me that even if you lose 75% of your liver, you can still survive with a balanced amount. Apparently, even if you have 12% of your liver alive and working, you can live a normal life. One of the examples of living with 25% of his liver is now standing in front of you and speaking to you. And I felt that if I could deliver this message to millions of other people, not just for this country, but for the region or for any part of the world, I hope that with my face and my voice, if it is worth being heard, I would want to propagate that. And that is how this entire campaign began. I was given copious notes by the World Health Organization on what hepatitis means and lots of details, but they have all already been discussed here by the distinguished speakers before me. So I won't get into that. I just need to say there are 2 points that, or 2 or 3 points that need to be given attention. One is that no matter how hard the World Health Organization or people connected with it, or personalities and celebrities connected with it, work towards propagating this campaign, until and unless we get support from the government, from the local governments, until and unless we get the commitment from the workers who are going to go out and spread this message, until and unless people stop discriminating just because somebody is suffering from hepatitis, we are not going to make the kind of progress that we are envisaging towards this campaign. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for the very kind words that he had to say, and to you, Dr. Singh, for saying such lovely words. But I just feel that it's wonderful to hear these words, but how wonderful it would be to hear that we were able to succeed in our campaign rather than in writing accolades about somebody who's going to get connected with this campaign. I wish that the day would come when I would stand here along with the World Health Organization and make a statement, just like we did at the time of polio, that today India is hepatitis free. And that would be a great achievement, I feel, if we can achieve that within the course of this campaign. I want to stress the fact that during the polio campaign, there was huge efforts that were made by all of us. We worked for almost 8 years. There was a lot of resentment. There were many obstacles that came our way, but we fought through it. But we really wanted to give credit to those workers who went out into the remotest parts of the country to deliver the dosage. They were the people who faced the wrath, the anger of the people that did not want to get these 2 drops of polio. And therefore, whenever we design anything for the hepatitis B campaign, please, most humbly, I respectfully want to say that please look after that worker. We will stand here and we will stand in front of the media with a lot of attention, wearing our suits and ties and making strong proclamations, but it is that worker that will go out there and talk to the people and tell them and educate them of what hepatitis is that really matters. I will become a face. I will say whatever I have to say. It will not be possible for me to go out to that village, to that family, to be able to personally talk to them. I wish I could. I wish we could have an arrangement where we could gather these families together. We could gather these people who are not believing in this campaign. I would love to be able to sit and spend some time. But obviously, it's not possible for me to go everywhere. I can make videos, I can write articles. Use me to the best possible way in delivering this message to millions of people. But please do also take care of that worker, because he's the main force that is going to be responsible in the eradication of this very dreaded disease. Thank you so much for having me here today. I hope that we can meet here again soon, Dr. Singh, and members of the World Health Organization, to one day, as I said, announce that India is indeed today hepatitis-free. I wish to plead with the government and say, your cooperation, your effort is most worthy, most valuable, and most essential. During the polio campaign, we spoke to every state minister and urged the ministry of that state to support us. And I have to admit that it was their support and their help and their financial help that was able to give a kind of bonus respect to the campaign of polio. I would urge the government of India to also include hepatitis in this most valuable campaign. Lend us your support. Put in the kind of money that is needed for the worker, not for us. We work pro bono, but for the workers who are going to go out in the fields and work, and give this such serious consideration. You've heard the speaker before me from Geneva talk about the number of people that are getting affected by hepatitis, and it is equatable almost to some of the major diseases that are existing in the world today, whether it is HIV, whether it is TB or cancer. This is horrendous, but it can be cured if it is detected in time. I remember Dr. Barve and me went across to the United States of America to get a second opinion upon my hepatitis, and we were fortunate enough to discover that there is a medication which, if taken regularly, may not eradicate it, but would stop the further increase of hepatitis in your body. I can fortunately say that from the recent tests that we have done, that seems to be working on me, because we have seen through various medical blood tests that there's now not really a remission, but a stoppage to the deterioration of my liver because of the hepatitis virus. So if we can all join hands together, spread the same kind of message to the government, to the associations, to the organizations that are working, I do hope that we will achieve what we have set out to achieve, to make India free of hepatitis. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bachchan, for your commitment and encouragement to each of us to work towards eliminating hepatitis in our region and beyond. Dear friends from the media, this is your time to ask questions of our distinguished guests on the dais. If you raise your hands, my colleagues will hand you a mic. Please identify yourself first and then ask your question. I know we would like many questions answered, but for now, please keep your questions on the topic of hepatitis only. Thank you.
अमित जी, आलोक हियर आपके सामने. मैं कैमरे में आऊँगा इसलिए मैं बैठा हूँ. अमित जी, सवाल मेरा है कि इस बार ये जो पहल आप कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि पोलियो से तो आपने मुक्त कर दिया, आपकी बातें लोग सुनते हैं और देखते हैं, आपकी आवाज़ के साथ साथ आपके जो हाव भाव होते हैं उसको भी लोग एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. हेपेटाइटिस से मुक्त करने के लिए या इस पहल से जुड़ने के लिए आप किस तरीके से इस बार तैयार हैं सर?
जैसे कि मैंने अभी कहा, जब इसके बारे में मुझे जानकारी हुई तो हम सब पहले हमारे जो हेल्थ मिनिस्टर हैं उनसे मिलने गए. उनसे हमने कहा कि इसमें अगर सरकार ध्यान नहीं देगी तो हम लोग अकेले कितना भी काम कर लें, इससे हमको मुक्ति नहीं मिलने वाली है. सरकार अपने जो स्वास्थ्य कार्यक्रम है उसमें हेपेटाइटिस को भी एक प्राथमिकता दे. बहुत सी चीज़ों पे प्राथमिकता देती है सरकार. कुछ हमको लगा कि अगर इसको इंडिविजुअली अलग से कुछ प्राथमिकता दे सकें तो शायद इसका महत्व और बढ़ जाएगा. वो कोशिश अभी भी जारी है. हालांकि जो एक जनरल इनॉक्यूलेशन होता है उसमें हेपेटाइटिस को भी डाला गया है, और उनकी जो एक स्कीम है इंद्रधनुष उसको कहते हैं, उसमें एक जनरल इनॉक्यूलेशन होता है. लेकिन हम चाह रहे थे कि अगर उसको एक अलग से एक स्थान दे दिया जाए तो एक बहुत ही कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड वे में हम हेपेटाइटिस की तरफ दे सकेंगे. उसके बाद मैंने जो हेपेटाइटिस से जुड़े हुए लोग थे उनसे मैंने आग्रह किया कि अगर मेरा चेहरा और मेरी आवाज़ लोगों तक पहुंच सकती है और मेरी वो बात सुनने के लिए तैयार हैं तो हम इसमें कुछ वीडियोस बनाएंगे. उन वीडियोस को हमने बनाया और उनका प्रचार भी हुआ है और हो रहा है. आगे भी जब कभी भी इस तरह का एक समाचार या एक कोई मैसेज भेजना होगा या सूचना देनी होगी तो मैं अवश्य तैयार हूँ. और जैसा कि मैंने अभी कहा कि अगर हम सब जगह नहीं जा पाएंगे, और ये सच्चाई है, इसको अभी से बोल देना चाहिए, लेकिन अगर कोई ऐसी अवस्था हो जहाँ पर, जैसे कि मैंने कहा, जो वर्कर है वो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण इंसान होता है. वो जाता है घर घर, वो बताता है, वो शिक्षित करता है इन लोगों को कि देखिए ये दवा ले लीजिए, अपना ब्लड टेस्ट करवा लीजिए, आपको हेपेटाइटिस है, इससे आपको ये हो सकता है. आज मेरी जो स्थिति है उसको कहा जाता है सिरोसिस ऑफ द लिवर. आमतौर पर सिरोसिस ऑफ द लिवर उनको कहा जाता है जो शराब से अपना संबंध रखते हैं. लेकिन मैं तो शराब पीता नहीं हूँ, लेकिन आज जो मेरी स्थिति है वो है सिरोसिस ऑफ द लिवर. ये नाम सुनते ही कहीं ना कहीं लोगों में आता है ये तो बड़ा होगा, बहुत बड़ा. लेकिन वो नाम से ही देखिए मुझे भय है. क्यों इस स्थिति में इंसान आए? और उसको रोकने के लिए जो भी हम कार्यक्रम बनाएंगे उसके साथ हम जुड़ेंगे। अगर ऐसी कोई स्थिति है, जैसे कि मैंने कहा डॉक्टर सिंह से एंड टू द वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पीपल, अगर ऐसे वर्कर्स की एक मीटिंग की जाए। जब पोलियो की हमारे मुक्ति की बात हुई थी तो उस समय जितने अधिकारी गण थे वो तो आए, लेकिन मैंने उनसे कहा कि जितने वर्कर्स हैं उनको बुलाया जाए। इंदिरा गांधी स्टेडियम दिल्ली में हमने बुलाया उनको, 10,000 वर्कर्स आए और उनकी हमने सराहना की, उनको पुरस्कार दिया, क्योंकि उन्हीं की वजह से ये काम हो सका। तो मैं चाहूँगा एक बार फिर कि वो अगर एक छोटा सा झुंड भी अगर आ जाए और अगर हम उनसे मिल करके उनके साथ सेल्फी खिंचवा लें, आजकल यही होता है, जहाँ भी जाए सब लोग कहते हैं एक सेल्फी खिंचवा लीजिए। अगर सेल्फी खिंचवाने से वो काम हमारा कर देंगे तो मैं सैकड़ों सेल्फी खिंचवाने के लिए तैयार हूँ।
This is Vrishali Purandare from Asian Age. My question is, do you think government should take a cognizance on this when it is a need of hour to spread awareness on the hepatitis, the way it should be done? Do you think government is failing in doing that?
No, I'm not saying that at all. You just heard the Minister of Health make a very passionate appeal towards everybody. The government is aware, they are already doing a lot. We wanted to give it a specific attention, much like the attention that was given to polio. Right now, hepatitis is coming under an umbrella, which is called the Indradhanush, where we talk about many other diseases and inoculations to be given at birth to a child. And hepatitis B is also included in that. But other than the importance of inoculation at the time of birth, we also feel that there are many victims who are unaware of the disease and have suffered, and I just spoke about it myself, and are unaware of the disease. We want that kind of attention to be focused by the government, and they are doing it. I mean, we have had several meetings with the minister. They're very committed, and we are pursuing them, and we're very grateful to the government of India for taking interest in this campaign.
अमिताभ जी, मैं रंजीत सिंह ANI न्यूज़ एजेंसी से हूँ। आपसे और पूनम जी दोनों से जानना चाहूँगा मैं कि इज़ देयर एनी गोल सेट एज फार एज द टाइम कंसर्न, डेडलाइन इज कंसर्न, कितने साल में इरेडिकेट करना चाहेंगे, या कोई प्रपोज्ड प्लान है इसके लिए हमारी डेमोग्राफी और हेपेटाइटिस की सीवियरिटी को देखते हुए हमारी कंट्री में?
बीमार जब कोई होता है तो हम ये नहीं देखते हैं कि कितने दिन बीमार रहेगा और कितने दिन तक बीमारी चलेगी। इसको बंधित मत कीजिए, हमें काम करते रहना चाहिए। आज हम कह सकते हैं कि हाँ, भारत जो है वो पोलियो मुक्त है, लेकिन इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि अब हम काम बंद कर दें। अगर आप कहेंगे कि इसको हम समय बताइए कि कितने समय में क्या गोल है आपका, तो एक तौर से आपको बता देंगे साहब 5 साल में हो जाएगा। 5 साल में ना हुआ तो फिर हमारी आप निंदा करेंगे कि आपने तो कहा था 5 साल में हो जाएगा, नहीं हुआ। इसलिए उसका कोई गोल मत सेट कीजिए, हमें निरंतर प्रयास करते रहना चाहिए। आज अगर भारत पोलियो मुक्त है तो हमें ये भी डर है कि जो अन्य देश हैं हमारे, जैसे पाकिस्तान है, नेपाल है, बांग्लादेश है, श्रीलंका है, वहाँ से भी इन्फिल्ट्रेशन होता है वायरस का। तो हो सकता है कि वापस जो है वो पोलियो वायरस भारत में आ जाए। तो निरंतर हमको काम करते रहना पड़ेगा। हम एक बार हम ये निर्धारित कर दें कि साहब हम 4 साल या 5 साल के अंदर हेपेटाइटिस बी को मुक्त कर देंगे, भारत हो जाए तो अच्छा है, लेकिन निरंतर ये प्रयास हमको करते रहना पड़ेगा। इसलिए निर्धारित हमसे मत कहिए कि निर्धारित कीजिए कितने साल में ये हो जाएगा। कोई बिल्डिंग बनानी हो रियल एस्टेट की तो हम आपको बता देंगे जब 2 साल में ये बिल्डिंग खड़ी हो जाएगी, लेकिन हेपेटाइटिस बी कब निकलेगा इसके बारे में मत पूछिए।
Just to say that what has been said by Amit ji is absolutely right, that when you are working on the elimination or eradication of a disease, it's very difficult to say when exactly that disease will be eliminated. Now, as far as the goal setting is concerned, yes, the global strategy does talk of 2030. India has not yet said that by when will it eliminate it, but India also is committed to the global strategy, because when the global strategy is adopted, all countries of the region are present in the World Health Assembly. Following that, we have a regional strategy which also talks of 2030, but as has been highlighted by Amit ji, we can only strive towards it. We don't know really whether we'll be able to achieve it or not.
The question is, there's a lot of distrust with regards to vaccine among general population, especially oral polio vaccine worked really well because it was given orally, but people are afraid of taking injections. In the US, we are seeing an anti-vaccine movement already, and even in parts of India, it's growing. So how do you plan to address this problem, and will that be a part of the hepatitis campaign?
You're absolutely right. There is a lot of retaliation and wanting to not take inoculation. But let me tell you that there was a lot of opposition even to the polio drops. Any kind of medical intrusion inside your system is always met initially with a lot of resistance. But I think that you have to persist and you have to show results. And once those results come, then there is confidence that is built in. I agree with you that inoculation through injection is something that is sensitive and people are afraid for many reasons. Not just the pain that it causes, but you're entering, you're causing, you don't know whether the needle is clean, whether the injection can become the cause for the hepatitis virus to come inside you. But I don't know if I'm right in saying this, and I'm sure that Dr. Singh and Dr. Barve, you would perhaps be able to tell me. There are researches being conducted right now in the medical world where injectables will eventually be removed. Not just for hepatitis, but for many other cases also. I say this because Dr. Barve and me work on my body a lot because I suffer from many problems. And every time there is a need for an injection to go in, we have a lot of reservation. And eventually, by process of trying to take tablets, put patches, we are trying to overcome that moment where, as a last resort, we go in for taking an injection. I do believe that there is some research going on where the injectable is going to be removed. I don't know whether I'm right in saying so. Perhaps the people in the medical profession would be better placed to say this. But yes, I agree that we have to build that faith and tell them that the results will come. And this is the process by which it is happening. In time, I hope that there will be greater development and we can get rid of this.
Hi, this is Harsha Wadhwani from Absolute India. My question to you is, sir, you've taken a very bold step in coming forward and telling people about this problem, this hepatitis, and telling about your personal life. There are many other celebrities who have faced such or different kind of problems in their health, but they never come forward. What advice or message you'd like to give to other celebrities who are facing any problems related to health?
Yeah. There are two ways to look at it. One, whether you want to disclose your ailment or not. I feel that I'm not afraid to do so if it is going to be used in a cause which is going to help millions of other people. I cannot talk for other celebrities. That is their personal matter. And let me tell you that disclosure of your medical condition is contractually prevented in most countries in the West. If you get into a hospital in the West, the doctors are not obliged to even tell your relatives what the ailment is, what course of action is being taken. I don't know if I'm right in saying so, but this is the kind of conditioning that is there. In India, it is not so, but I don't mind saying this because I feel that the best way to convey my voice and my face in being able to admit it myself would perhaps be a little stronger. I didn't do it for polio, but I'm doing it for tuberculosis because I'm also a TB survivor, and I'm also a somewhat hepatitis survivor. So I find it a lot easier to be able to talk about the disease because I personally go through it. And I'm able to explain to the people what to expect and what to do. Because if I'm standing and able to answer your question, then obviously whatever has been done to me with regard to hepatitis is working.